Friends, now we are going to see an important topic in reasoning, namely data sufficiency. Nowadays, in almost all the exams, at least 5 questions come from data sufficiency. As far as data sufficiency lesson is concerned, this is not a new lesson. The questions are already familiar to you. You have already seen them. You have already learned how to solve them. In this data sufficiency questions, you are not asked to calculate the answer, exact answer. What is the exact answer? They don't ask you to calculate. What they are asking you is whether the data, they give you a question followed by 2 statements or 3 statements, and all that you have to do is whether the data in statement 1 alone is sufficient to answer the question, or 2 alone is sufficient to answer the question, or 3 alone is sufficient to answer the question, or the combination of any one of these 3, 1 and 2, or 2 and 3, or 1 and 3. The data that is the combined data that you get from statement 1 and 2, 2 and 3, etc., whether it is sufficient to answer the question. All you have to do is whether the question can be answered from the data given. You need not calculate the exact data. Then let us, before we go to the actual questions, we should understand the normal format of the questions. The normal format of the question is somewhat like this, which you may just keep a mental picture. The option, first they will give you a problem. The problem will be followed by 5 options. What are the normal options? Option 1 is data that are available in statement alone is sufficient to answer the question, and please note there is an and here, and data available in statement 2 are not sufficient to answer the question. So option 1 means you will be able to find the answer from the data given in statement 1 alone, and please note the and data in statement 2 alone is not sufficient to find the answer. Then option 2 is the ulta of option 1, that is data in statement 2 alone is sufficient to answer the question, and note the and again, data in statement 1 is not sufficient to answer the question. Then option 3 is data available either in statement 1 or in statement 2 alone are sufficient to answer the question. So the answer can be found out from the data that is available in either statement 1 or statement 2 Then option 4 is the data available in both statement 1 and statement 2 are not sufficient to answer the question. The data that is available in both statements 1 and 2, with all the data that is available, you will not be able to find the answer. That is option 4. Then option 5 is the data that is available in statement 1 together with the data available in statement 2, both when put together, they are sufficient to answer the question. So this is the normal pattern of the options. This need not follow in every case. So you must exercise a little bit of caution before you embark upon answering the question. But this will be the normal pattern. So just remember the normal pattern. Option 1 means statement 1 alone. I am just recapturing. Option 1 means statement 1 alone is sufficient. Option 2 means statement 2 alone is sufficient. Option 3 means either statement 1 or statement 2. Data in either statement 1 or statement 2 are sufficient to answer the question. Option 4 is data in both statement 1 and 2 put together are not sufficient to answer the question. You cannot find the answer with the data that is available in both statement 1 and 2. And option 5 is data available in statement 1 together with the data available in statement 2 is sufficient to answer the question. These are the 5 normal options that are given, which you can just keep it in your mind. You need not waste time reading. Just to check up whether this is the order that is there in the question, and then you can start proceeding to answer the questions. Now I will give you a typical example of a simple typical example of a data sufficiency question so that you will understand the concept. The question is, what is the cost of painting this wall? There is a wall and it has to be painted. What is the cost of painting? That is the question. What is the data given in statement 1? The length of the wall is 30 meters and the height of the wall is 5 meters. What is the data given in statement 2? Cost of painting is rupees 10. Now let us look at statement 1. What data does it have? It has the data of length and height. With the length and height, what you can calculate? You can only calculate the area. Knowing only area without the cost of painting per square foot is of no value to you. You cannot arrive at the cost of painting of the wall. So statement 1 alone is not sufficient to answer the question. Then statement 2, what is the data given? Cost of painting is rupees 10 per square foot. With this, can you find out what is the total cost? It is not possible. You need both the area as well as the cost per square foot of painting. Then only you can arrive at the actual cost of painting this wall. Therefore, the answer for this question is option 5. Both data in both statement 1 and statement 2 are necessary to answer the question. This is a simple typical example which I have given so that you will understand the concept. Then what are the areas from which normally data sufficiency questions are asked? The areas are comparison, blood relations, direction sense, age related problem, date related problem, coding and decoding, sitting arrangement, ranking, and miscellaneous questions. These are the topics normally from which data sufficiency questions are asked. And this is an important point. Data sufficiency questions may have come with 2 statements or 3 statements. Both are possible. 2 statement is simple and 3 statement is slightly complicated. But please remember, the strategy you should adopt to answer questions of 2 statement and 3 statement are different. You cannot adopt the same strategy. So we will see both what strategy we should adopt for statement 2 and what strategy we should adopt for 3 statement questions on data sufficiency. Now we will see what are the tips that we should remember, or the strategy that we should adopt for solving questions relating to 2 statement data sufficiency questions. The first point you should remember is never waste time trying to find out the exact answer. You are not asked to find the exact answer. You are only asked to tell about the sufficiency of the data to arrive at the answer. Therefore, don't waste time calculating the exact answer. Second point is, look at the variables in the question. What are the variables that are there in the question? Just it's a quick check. Then look at the statement, whether all the variables are there. Only when all the variables are there, you will be able to find the answer. So, check the variables in the question. Check the statement 1, whether all the variables are there. If suppose one variable is not there, A is taller than B, B is taller than C, like that. So, whether all the variables are there given in the question are available in statement 1. If it is not there, then statement 1 99.9% will not be able to solve the problem. Therefore, usually you can come to the conclusion statement 1 alone is not sufficient. Then go to statement 2. Again find what are the variables in the question and what are the data, how many variables are there in the data. If 1 or 2 variables are missing, then statement 2 alone is not sufficient. Then check with both, whether both statements, all the variables are available in both statements. Then you can try straight away go to the third step and find out the answer. Now suppose you are, that is a very important point, very important clue I have given. Suppose you are able to arrive at the answer with only statement 1. Can you stop with that? No. You must also try to answer with the statement 2, because option 3 is there, whether statement 1 alone is sufficient, data in statement 1 alone is sufficient, or data in statement 2 alone. So either data in statement 1 alone or data in statement 2 alone are sufficient to answer the question. That you will be able to take only when you find that only when you work out both the statements 1 and 2. Then if you are not able to arrive at the data from 1 or 2, then combine the data and check. And finally, select the options appropriately. Whatever conclusion you have arrived, to that conclusion, your data should match, your answer should match, the option number you select should match. Sometimes people arrive at the answer correctly and choose the option wrongly. That is just like jumping the well 99%. It is of no use. You will anyway you will fall into the well. Anyway your answer will be wrong. So this ultimate point, the last point, please exercise caution. You have arrived at some conclusion and the option you tick matches with the conclusion you have arrived. Please see this. So today our agenda is to make you conversant with data sufficiency questions based on 2 statements as well as 3 statements. That is the presentation objective of our today's presentation. With this preamble, now let us go into questions and answer questions one by one.